We're going to focus a little bit today on the hips. We do quite a lot of work with balance to start with, so if you do want to hold on to a wall, a chair, a bed, whatever's to hand, then feel free to do so. Otherwise, all you need is a mat and yourself. You're going to take yourself into a standing position towards the back end of your mat. Just focus on keeping those, or getting those feet directly underneath your hips. The toes are spread. You're going to lengthen all the way up through the spine and just take a couple of settling breaths to begin. In through the nose and out through the mouth. In through the nose. And as you exhale out through the mouth, just feel that gentle connection through the low belly. Feel that growth through the spine, through the crown of the head. Cool. And then when you're ready from here, we're just going to take a nice simple roll down. So as you next exhale, you're just going to nod the chin towards the chest. Release the shoulders forwards, let the arms hang heavy in front of you. Scoop the belly up and roll down towards your feet. As far as you want to go, you might want to soften into those knees. Maybe have a little bit of a roll of the shoulders at the bottom. And then you're going to roll back up on your next exhale, stacking the lower part, the mid part and the upper part of the spine until the head and the shoulders come back up. Cool. So from here we're going to do a similar type of movement, but we're going to wait for that roll down bit. So you're going to start by keeping the back flat instead of rolling through the spine. So keep neutral as you let yourself hinge forwards from the hips. Weight stays even through the feet and arms are just going to hang in front of you. Then push yourself back up from there, squeezing the bottom to push the hips forwards. This time you're going to add your roll down, so you're going to do your waiter's bow kind of movement first, keeping the back straight and long, and then you're going to roll down. Head releases, shoulders release, and then roll down towards the feet. Soften the knees if you want to, and then you're going to roll yourself back to that flat back position. So think about picking your hands off the floor by drawing the shoulders back and opening the chest. And then push the hips forwards to hinge back up. Cool. We're now going to do this on one foot. So choose your foot. I'm going to go right foot off the floor first. Now as you begin to hinge forwards from the hips, you're going to extend that right leg out behind you. Come as far as you can, keeping a flat back. And then see whether you can maintain your balance as you roll down towards the foot. Good. Now roll back up to that flat back, picking the hands off the floor, picking the shoulders off, and then hinge back up, sweeping the back foot forwards and into tabletop. We're going to go again. Try not to rest the foot down as you reach the leg back. Arms hang heavy, spine stays long. And then roll down towards the floor whenever you're ready. Nodding the head, releasing the shoulders, roll down towards that foot. Then pick the shoulders back off and sweep the leg through. This time, from tabletop with that front leg now, you're just going to flex the foot and extend the leg out in front of you. You're then going to relax the foot and bend it back in. From there we're going again, reach the leg behind you, flat back, arms dangle, then roll down towards that foot. You can be doing this on two legs if it's just a little bit too challenging to stay balanced. You can take out the roll down part of this as well if you're struggling. Sweep the leg through, back to tabletop, flex the foot, extend the leg. Can you rise up onto your standing foot toes? And back down, and you're going last time here. Sweep that leg back behind you, roll down, open that spine back up, lift the chest, Hinge up, fold the leg in front of you, flex the foot, extend that leg, rise up, then you're going to land on the front foot into a lunge. Then rest the back knee down. Shuffle the front foot forward slightly. Keep the back toes tucked to get that foot stretch here. If you're struggling with that position, feel free to untuck. But otherwise from here, you're just going to allow yourself to hinge forwards, lunge forwards, open the front of that back hip, and then push away from the front foot and draw the toes up. Cool. Again, hinge forwards, lower the hips, push back, keep the spine long as you reach for the toes. 2 more. Cool. And then stop back into the centre. Shuffle the toes of the front foot a little bit further forwards and sit into that lunge position. Then you're going to reach the arms out in front of you. From here, you're just going to rotate and open the arm. Then reach both arms back in front of you. Doesn't matter way you go first, as you're going to go both ways. Other side, rotate, reach, and then come back to the centre. Take both hands now either side of that front foot. Again, we're going to go both directions, doesn't matter which way you go first. Rotate, reach one arm to the ceiling. And put that hand back down, rotate, reach the other arm to the ceiling. Really open the chest. And put that hand back down. You're now going to take both knees down and find yourself on all fours. So just checking up on this position, hands just in front of the shoulders, knees under the hips to start with. We're just going to take a lean from side to side. So just easing into the hips. Let the bottom drop to one side. Let the spine do what it wants. Cool, back to the centre. You're going to widen the knees, so the knees are more like mat width apart. Hands slightly further forwards, and you're going to take a rock backwards and forwards from here. Try to keep the spine long as you reach back, so you're not tucking the tail between the legs quite yet. And as you come forwards, you're keeping that belly active. Take this as far as you need to or want to. We can then add to this movement by adding a flexion and extension through the spine. So next time you sit back towards your heels, how about rounding the back? And then as you come forwards, maybe it feels good for you to drop the hips forwards and open the chest. Then push back, round the back to sit back onto your heels or towards your heels. And then come forwards, pushing the hips forwards and making the chest big. And again, take this as big or as small as you want. Listen to your body. You might like to add one more thing to this. As you come forwards the next time, maybe squeeze the big toes together and lift the feet as you extend. One more like that. And then come back to sit onto your heels in a child's pose or a shell stretch. Maybe take a little wriggle from side to side. And then you're going to bring yourself back onto your hands and knees. Take the knees back underneath the hips and parallel. Hands underneath the shoulders now. Just check on your shoulder position. So do a couple of press and release through the shoulder. So you're allowing the shoulder blades to come in towards one another as the chest lowers. And then you're pressing and rounding the shoulders as you push the chest away from the floor. Draw the shoulders towards one another and then push them away from one another. Just your last couple, keeping that gentle engagement through your low belly. And then you're going to still between those 2 points in what would be a neutral shoulder position, tuck your toes under. You're going to hover your knees and then put them back down. Nothing changes through the body, staying long through the spine as you hover and replace. Hover and replace. And either you can keep the knees down here or you can lift the knees off. To extend one leg, tap back behind you and bring it back underneath you. Same leg, reach back and underneath. 2 more on that side, tap and under. And then swap legs. You can have the knees down or the knees hovering. Tap and under, tap and under. Good, last one. Back to that hover, and then you're going to push the hips up towards the ceiling into a pike or a down dog, reaching the heels back down into the mat. And then from here, you're just going to walk the hands back to the feet and roll yourself all the way back up to the top, stacking the spine as you go. Alright, so we're going to swap to the other side for your balance work now. So for me, I lifted the right foot off the floor. This time I'm going to balance on my right leg. So we're swapping legs. So whenever you're ready, we're going to do that hinge. As you hinge the chest forwards, the leg reaches out behind you, arms dangle. Find your balance there and roll down towards that foot. Rolling back up to pick the hands away from the floor, open the chest, and then sweep the leg through as you hinge up. Leg comes into tabletop. Same again, reach the leg out behind you, chest comes down, leg comes up, roll down towards the floor. Roll back up, opening the chest. Hinge up, sweep the leg through, flex the foot and extend the foot out in front of you. Relax the foot and bend to reach that leg back behind you again. Hinging forwards, rolling down. Open that chest back up to that hinge. Sweep the leg through to stand tall. Flex the foot. Extend the leg. Can you rise up onto the standing foot toes? And back down. Sweep the leg out behind you. This is your last one here. Chest comes down, arms hang. Then roll down towards the floor. Let the back flex. Open the chest back up. Sweep the leg through. Flex the foot, extend the leg, rise up onto the toes and land on that front foot. Lunge and lower down onto your knee. Shuffle the front toes a little bit further forwards. And from here, you're just going to come into that lunge, so really opening the front of that back hip as far as you want to. And then push away from the front foot. Draw the toes up towards you. Think about reaching slightly towards that foot. And then hinging forwards, sink into those hips. And pushing back, reach for the toes. 2 more. Alright, and then we're going to stay into the center. From here, let's take a rotation. So just reach the arms out in front of you. Doesn't matter which way you go first, you're going to open one arm and rotate towards that direction, fingers away from fingers. And then back to the center. Open the other arm. And back to the center. Both hands down either side of that front foot. Reach one arm for the ceiling. And back to center. Reach the other arm for the ceiling. Cool. And back to center. Both hands are down. Take both knees back and come onto all fours briefly again. Okay, so now you're back on all fours. You're just going to take those hands quite a bit further forward. And you're going to lean the hips forwards so you're in a kneeling plank. From here we're going to transition onto our bellies. So just bend the elbows in towards your waist and lower yourself down until you're face down on your mat. Cool. So we're just going to start with the hands underneath your forehead. Settle yourself into your mat, draw the ribcage underneath you, scoop the belly up. Legs are parallel. We're just going to start by kicking the right foot in towards your bottom, and you're just going to allow for that leg to pendulum across the body and then out to the side, aiming to keep your pelvis level as you rotate the thigh bone in the hip joint. Cool. Thinking about that thigh bone just swiveling in the hip rather than the pelvis rolling. And you're going to bring that foot back into the centre. We're going to try 5 little thigh lifts from here. Scoop the belly, ground through the pubic bone and the front of the hips, and just lift the thigh slightly. Lower it back down. Doesn't matter how high you're going, if you're barely lifting, that's totally fine. We'll go for 3 more. And this next one, you're going to lift the thigh, lift the hip, and reach the toes back to behind you as much as you can. Then control it all the way back to lower the thigh back down. We'll do that again. Reach, rotate. Can you place the whole of the foot down behind you? Let yourself roll onto your side if you need to. And then come all the way back. 1 more. This time you're going to pause in this position. Can you roll over onto your side entirely and push yourself up into a seated position? You're then going to come back the way you came, take your hands down, roll onto that side, take your head down, lift the leg and put it back. We'll try 1 more like that. Lifting the thigh, the hip rotating. Once you place the foot down, can you push yourself up onto your side? Reach the hand forwards, come and sit. And then you're going to come all the way back down. Roll onto your belly and switch legs. Kick the left foot in towards you. You're just going to wag or pendulum that leg from side to side. You may notice one direction is a little bit easier for you. It's going to be different for everyone. Then finish in the centre. 5 little thigh lifts here. Hover the thigh, place it back down, and again. And then the next time you lift the thigh, lift the hip. Can you reach that foot back behind you? Maybe just toes tap this first time. And then rotate all the way back to land with control. Same again. Can you let the whole of the foot rest back on the floor behind you? Feel free to rotate and turn onto that side. Adjust the arms if needed. You might get a little bit of a pec stretch as well. Come all the way back. 1 more like that. And then we're going to attempt to roll into seated. So rolling over, foot down. Push yourself up with the hands and reach the hand forwards. Come up and then fold yourself back down. Hands down, head down. Bring the leg and the belly back. Same again. You may need to shuffle in between each one. Lift up rotate, push the body up, reach the hand forwards and sit up. Roll back down, hands down, head down, rolling back. You've got one more. And then once you're back down, lower the legs both back down. Shuffle onto your mat if you've sort of crept in one direction, tends to happen. Take your hands underneath your shoulders here, rest the forehead down. Legs just a wee bit wider than hip distance. You're going to lift the head and the shoulders and the chest without pressing into those hands. Keep the belly scooped up and away from the floor, just as high as you want to, and then come back down. Same again, head, chest, shoulders. Try not to push into the hands. If you're comfortable in extension of the spine, you might want to come a bit higher. To do that, you will need to start to press into those hands gently to push yourself a little bit higher into that extension. As high as you are comfortable with, if you can, get the elbows straight and then come back down. Get to a point where you can control this movement without the hands and release. Same again, as high as you want to, adding that extra push into the arms if you can or you want to, and then come back down. If you're struggling in so much extension, take the arms a bit wider and a bit further forwards. Just gives you a little bit less extension in the arms, or you just don't have to come to the top of the movement. Alright, last one. And all the way back down. Hands underneath those shoulders again. You're just going to push yourself back into a child's pose. Hands forwards, sit back onto your heels and take some breaths in that position. Then from here, you're going to come and sit into the centre of your mat. Extend the legs out in front of you, squeeze them together. You can have the feet flexed or pointed. You can reach the arms in front of you, soften the shoulders down, and you're going to roll down onto your mat. Once you reach the bottom, reach the arms overhead. You're going to roll back up, scoop the belly, open the hips, reach over your feet, and roll back down. One more like that. And rolling back down, you're going to stay at the bottom this time. And you're going to bend the knees, feet in line with those hips. Settle yourself onto your mat so that your pelvis is heavy, rib cage heavy, shoulders heavy, arms down by your sides. We're going to come into some basic bridges. So all you're going to do is tilt the pelvis backwards, roll up, lifting the hips, and then roll back down from the rib cage through the centre of the belly and back into neutral, tailbone heavy. Couple more like that. Thinking about that mobility through the spine and opening the hips at the top of that movement. Good. One more like that. You're going to stay at the top of this next one. And you're going to open the knees as far as they'll go without dropping the pelvis, and then close them back in towards one another. Can they connect? Open them all the way out and close. Keep the hips still and lifted as you open and close. You can roll onto the outside edge of those feet as the knees open for 3 more. Last one. Knees together, roll yourself back down. Then open the feet wide as your mat, turned out on a diagonal with the feet and the knees. You're going to roll up into your bridge from here. At the top, bring the knees towards one another as far as they will go, and then roll back down. At the bottom, open the knees out and roll up. At the top, close the knees in and roll down. One more in that direction. And then once you rest at the bottom, you're going to roll out with the knees towards one another. Open the legs at the top and roll back down with the knees wide. 3 more. Close the knees, roll up. Open the knees, roll down. 2 more. Last one here. And settle at the bottom. Just shake those legs out and you're going to come and roll onto your side. Cool. We're going to have both legs long. You're going to take one arm in behind your head or underneath your head just to support it like that. Long through the waist, long through those legs, reach out through the feet and just take the hand in front of you. I'm going to start just by lifting and lowering that top leg. Nice. Reaching the foot a little bit further away from your head each time. And then you're going to lift that leg, reach it forwards as far as you can and tap it down on the floor in front of you. You're going to lift that leg, reach it backwards and tap it down as far as you can behind you. Reach it forwards, tap it down, reach it backwards and tap it down. You're going to try and make this arc of the leg a little bit bigger each time without flattening the low waist into the mat or the floor. If you need to, you can bend that lower leg for a little bit more balance support. Nice, good work. And then you can begin to add this top arm and the upper body into this movement. So if the leg is back behind you, you're going to reach the hand forwards and the chest down. As the leg comes up and over, you're going to reach the leg forwards and the arm back. So leg goes back, arm comes forwards, leg goes forwards, arm goes back. Chest can move. You can change the head position if you want. You can just rest the head down and have the bottom arm out the way. Or you can take a cushion underneath your head. Next time that your leg is forwards, stay there. Bring both hands together in front of you. And you're going to open the chest, rotate backwards and reach behind you into that chest opening position. And then come back to the front. You're going to do the same again. Then you're going to stay there and see whether you can lift your leg up towards the ceiling and roll onto your back. And then you're going to lift that hip back up, put the foot back down in front of you and reach the arm back in front of you. Arm goes back, leg joins in onto your back and then all the way back in front of you. We'll just do 2 more. Last one. And stay there. Bend the knees, push yourself up and fold the legs into your mermaid position. So you want to be in a slightly wider mermaid position than normal. So you're going to open the legs out so the back thigh is roughly parallel to the front shin. From here, you're going to sit as tall as you can into those hips. Temptation to kind of lean onto that hand. So try and just bring yourself up as tall as you can. Not easy. And then just walk the fingers in front of that front leg. And then walk them back. This time in front of the toes of the front foot. And then walk them back. This time, try reaching the arms out in front of you. Can you push the hips forwards and come up? and then all the way back down. Same again, push the hips forwards, come up, squeeze the bum, all the way back down. Last one. And then sit yourself back down. Take hold of your back ankle and just side bend in that direction. Cool, releasing there. You're going to flip the legs round and you're going to do the other side. So bring yourself down into that long straight line, supporting your head, waist away from the floor, hand in front of you just to stop you falling over, and then you're just going to lift and lower that top leg to begin. Three more. Cool, next time you lift that leg, you're going to bring it in front of you as far as you can and tap it down on the floor. Change the position of that hand if you need to. Now you're going to lift that leg back up. It feels very heavy from this position. Scoop the belly, lift it up and bring it back to tap behind you. Lift it up, tap in front. Lift it up, tap behind. Keep that going for a few more times. Thinking about that arc of the leg getting a little bit higher, a little bit wider each time you lift up and over the other leg. Cool. Next time that your leg is in front of you, pause, reach the arm back behind you. Then reach the leg back and the arm forwards. Chest comes down, arm back, leg forwards, chest to the ceiling. Whoop, I nearly fell over. Forwards and backwards. Keep that going in your own time and your own style. So just let it flow in your body. Good, and then next time your leg comes forwards, leave it there. Take both hands out in front of you and you're going to open the arm into that arm opening. Feel free to have a cushion under your head if you want, and then come back. And again. This time you're going to roll onto your back, lift the leg, roll onto your back. And then let the leg come back, the arm come back, the head come back onto your side. Arm first, leg onto your back, then control it all the way back again. We'll go two more. Last one. And then bend both knees, push yourself up into that open-legged mermaid. So shin and thigh roughly parallel. Sit as tall as you can in this position and then walk those fingertips forwards in front of that front leg. Walk the fingertips back, you're going beyond that front foot now. And then back to centre. Repeat that if you don't want to come into that hip thrust movement, but otherwise we're going to go into coming up from there. Reach the arms forwards, push the hips forwards and back down. Push those hips up. Nice, just one more. Sit all the way back down. Grab the back ankle and come into a side bend towards that foot. Then release back to centre. Release the legs. Give them a shake. Release the shoulders, head and neck. Cool, and well done everyone. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.